you.
You can try fighting the law all you want, but the law is always going to win. From politicians and celebrities to sports figures and business leaders, they're fighting the law. Now, here to sort out the nation's top legal news stories is America's favorite legal analyst, Royal Oakes. This is the Royal Oakes Show.
Robbing people with a 6-gun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Thank you, Mike Horn, and welcome to the Royal Oakes Show, and welcome to our co-host, Ken Jeffries. How are you today, Ken?
I'm fine. I'm busy watching myself right now on Facebook Live.
This is stunning.
Can I do that? Can I show it right to the camera there? Does it show? We're on Facebook Live. We're on live, ladies and germs. And Rob, I know you can't see it. We'll introduce Rob in a second. But now this way, Rob can see us.
Gosh, I'm sorry, folks, we're out of time. But do tune in next week because we have Mike Gary is running the board here. He says we have a little more time. And our other co-host is Rob Marinko, all the way in Florida. Rob, can you hear us?
I can hear you perfectly, Royal.
You look so comfortable. You look relaxed. You look very Floridian.
Thank you. I am.
Welcome to the show. So glad you could join us. Our millennial correspondent, Connor Oakes, is on special assignment. So we got a big show. We got our Showbiz Insider, Sarah Mednick, going to be joining us later in the program. And we have our regular features, of course. We have Moron of the Week, where we pick the stupidest person on the planet in the last week. We talk about him at the top of the show, and then we have a second candidate at the end of the show, and then we vote on who is the stupidest of them all. We've got our new feature, The Monologue, and the concept is very simple. We eliminate all comedy anxiety because each of us, Rob, Ken, and I, will read a joke not written by ourselves but by one of the other three members of the panel, so we don't give a damn if nobody laughs. So no comedy anxiety.
Can we say that on Facebook Live?
I think so, and Rob's laughing already. We're also going to have our feature Guess the Verdict, some wacky lawsuits, see if the panel can guess the outcome, and the hot tub time machine feature at the end of the show. It's going to be, I'll give you a hint, it's from the 1950s, but even though it's a little bit old, it's a gripper, so you want to wait to the end of the show to get a soundbite from our past. So let's kick it off with a Moron of the Week.
Okay.
This gentleman is a very strong candidate for a Moron of the Week. He's from Montana. He is a guy who just, his name is Daniel Stein, and he was at a fast food restaurant, and it's happened to all of us. You buy your meal, and then you just say, well, I'd like a cup of water, and they give you a cup, and then of course he sneaks over and gets soda. So he has been charged with multiple misdemeanors and a felony, believe it or not. He tried to fill his water cup with soda. He was told by the employee, you got to pay for the soft drink. When told this, he refused. He left. The employee followed him, told him he was not welcome back, and then the offender turned back, came toward the employee, kicked him. The restaurant called the cops, and a fight ensued. This comes 2 weeks after a brutal beatdown in a McDonald's when a woman tried to fill her water cup with soda. So apparently it's like an epidemic of misconduct. So this is our first candidate for Moron of the Week, this gentleman named Stein. We'll see how he stacks up. Rob Marinko, I'm sure you've never committed that offense in any fine Florida fast food establishments.
No, but I've been to McDonald's.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's close enough.
They have them there in Florida?
They do. They have lots of stuff here.
They have
They have the internet. Just got it in last week.
I love it. So guess the verdict, guys. Now you're going to be put on the spot. I'm going to read you summaries of 3 lawsuits, and you have to decide who might have won the suit. So first one is out of Montgomery, Alabama, close to you, Rob Marinko. The fellow's name is Matthew Statler. He is a firefighter. He's also blessed with world-class chest hair. The fire department can't help but notice his crop of chest hair, and he is told that because embers might ignite his chest, he's got to trim it. Well, he's not going to stand for this. He refuses. He is fired, and he sues for wrongful termination. So let's start with you, Rob Marinko from Florida. Who wins, the fire department or this guy with the voluminous crop of chest hair who is unwilling to take this lying down and wants to have it on the job?
I think it's clearly Neanderthal nipples. The suit. lawsuit.
Good old Neanderthal.
Okay, so you're thinking that he should lose, that the firing is totally justified. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying the firing is not justified. I think the guy with the chest hair, the firefighter, wins.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
So you guys don't care about some horrendous inferno resulting from
No, they wear something called turnouts. They wear this fire-resistant material, a jacket over that, T-shirts over that. They got... Listen, there's no way his chest is going to catch on fire.
Isn't that interesting? Because a federal judge disagreed with both of you.
What?
Said there's no constitutional right to chest hair of unlimited length, and so the firefighter loses.
What if he braided it? Even if he braided it, and
the judge is wrong.
Still time for you guys to make a.
By the way, chest hair is also a sign of guys who are into disco, like Disco Stu, the character on The Simpsons.
That was a good one.
And so if his chest hair burns, they could literally call it the Disco Inferno.
That's right.
The Tramps, 1972. Thank you.
So let's go up to Cheshire, Connecticut, guys, shall we? Carla Koch is there. She took her dog to obedience school and claims that while training her poodle, she slipped in a puddle of dog drool. She sues, and her lawyer argues to the jury the school should have anticipated such an injury and placed an absorbent mat on the floor. So who do you think won? Carla Koch, who slipped in
What's her name again?
Carla Koch of Cheshire, Connecticut.
Just wanted to make that.
In the puddle of dog drool. That's where she slipped. Who wins? The poor gal who slipped in the dog drool, or the obedience school, the dog obedience school? Let's start with you, Ken. Who do you think is the big winner?
I think the school wins and wipes the floor with her.
Okay.
Sorry.
I like that.
Get it?
Thank you so much.
Rob Marinko, what's your guesstimate here?
I go along with Ken on this one. The school wins.
Yeah, the case was dismissed. The judge had just no sympathy at all for the victim of the dog drool. All right, third and final case. We're going to Wyoming, guys. A Wyoming man sells a car to a woman, but she's a little short, so they make a deal. Maybe you know where this is going. She gets the car, and he gets $100 and 100 sexual favors. Now, down the road, he files a lawsuit against her, claiming he got the $100, but he only wound up with 33 favors. He even had a chart for the judge to evaluate, providing dates and other details. Rob, you're laughing as if this is humorous. I mean, this is a very tragic, serious legal case, obviously. So who do you think wins? Rob Marinko, we'll start with you. Did the man who wanted the additional favors or some financial equivalent, or did the woman who stiffed him win? What do you think, Rob?
I think this is a blown case. I don't think the guy's got a third leg to stand on, quite frankly. I think this is really...
I guess you can say just about anything in Florida. Is that what we're learning here? Okay.
You can't... First of all, you can't lose a lawsuit if what you're suing over is illegal behavior on your part. I could be totally wrong, because believe it or not, I'm not a lawyer. Yeah. But I believe that he will lose on this.
So that's Rob's theory. Ken, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you guys are both right.
Of course.
Yeah, the contract was for prostitution and thus illegal and unenforceable. Well, that's pretty good. You guys made a pretty good comeback. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get to the top stories of the week after our first break, and of course the Manafort trial is way up there. Chelsea Clinton weighing in on abortion is another top story, and a too-gay swimsuit has been banned at the Encore Hotel in Las Vegas. So you're going to want to stick around for that. But meantime, we've got a Me Too movement deal, and I'm wondering, guys, if you've heard about this Me Too twist. Have you heard about it? This female professor involved in some inappropriate behavior with her graduate student. Her name is Avital Ronell. She is a world-renowned female professor of German and comparative literature at NYU. She has been found responsible for sexually harassing a male former grad student named Nimrod Reitman. There was an 11-month Title IX investigation.
Did that name he deserved it?
Maybe that was the defense. Found that the professor, described as one of the very few philosopher stars of the world. I mean, sounds like she's up there with Plato and Socrates. There were dozens of emails. By the way, she's 66 years old and he's 34. Dozens of emails in which she referred to him as my most adored one, sweet cuddly baby, Cocker Spaniel. There was a hyphen between the first and the second syllables.
How clever.
And my astounding and beautiful Nimrod.
She called him a dog.
Yeah, something like that. So, guys, are you surprised? The kicker here is he's gay and she is a lesbian. Now, go figure. You know, the world turned upside down, right? So what's your reaction to the fact that we've moved forward in the Me Too movement to this extent? I guess there are just there are all sorts of ways people can be offended.
Yeah, there was a movie
back
in the 70s about this too, where the guy was gay and the woman was a lesbian, and I think they maybe fell for each other, but in a kind of a different way.
Yeah, well, plus there was the Demi Moore film, wasn't she the boss, and she was harassing Michael Douglas, I think, in...
yeah,
that's right.
Something
Disclosure.
Like, it was something like that.
That was it. The problems began, according to Mr. Reitman, in 2012. The professor invited him to stay with her in Paris for a few days. He arrived. She asked him to read poetry to her in her bedroom while she took an afternoon nap. That was a red flag to me, Mr. Reitman said. Nimrod said, but I also thought, okay, you're here, better not make a scene. And then she pulled him into bed. She put his hands onto her breasts, was pressing herself onto him. She was kissing me. That evening, a similar scene played out again, and I said, look, what happened yesterday was not okay. You're my advisor. So do you think this is an appropriate Me Too movement idea? Do you think this is legitimate for him to be suing her for the big bucks?
No.
No? Why not?
Well, first of all, I don't think a professor... He was 39 years old or 36 years old?
34,
something like that.
34. Now, don't make him out to be older than he is.
I don't... Because one of the things about the Me Too movement, the way I understand it, is that it's not straight sexual harassment. There has to be an element of power that the victim faces in addition to the sexual harassment. And it sounds like he went along the first night with her.
Yeah, but she was giving him grades. She was she's the 60-something professor, and he's a grad student, and, he's working on his PhD, stuff like that. You're just not impressed, I can tell, Rob.
I'm not impressed with his case.
Well, okay. Well, this one we can't guess because it's still pending in the courts, but he's going to be pressing ahead looking for the big bucks. So I mentioned that there was a gay swimsuit issue in Las Vegas. I don't know if you guys are fans of the Encore Beach Club at the Wynn in Las Vegas. So in Vegas, of course, on the Strip, there's the Wynn Hotel right next to the Encore. And right there on the Strip, there's a beach club. I've never been in there. They've got a high wall. You have to pay an admission to get in, and I never did it. But it's called the Encore Beach Club, and people pay, and this is cocktail parties, and everybody mingles and so on. So Chris Donahue was removed from the Encore Beach Club at the Wynn. And the reason is he was told his bathing suit was not in integrity with the brand of the pool party. Whatever
what does that mean?
That means, that's right. He says, I was kicked out for being a gay man wearing a bathing suit that was, quote, too gay. A little too gay for the Beach Club Encore Vegas to tolerate.
What the hell does that mean?
Well, I don't know. That's why you're here on the panel, Rob, to help explain this. These are fascinating.
We don't have any pictures now with this. That's the thing.
No, sorry, Mike.
I am familiar with.
Do you have any visual aids? No. Mike is shrugging his shoulders and turning his palms straight up. So I think that's the international symbol for beats me. I don't have any pictures of this guy's too gay swimsuit.
I'm familiar with the beach club, and it's a lot of attractive young people, men and women, usually scantily clad, and the women, from what I understand, have not been there, but I'm familiar with the club and the hotels, of course, the Wynn hotels, but the women wear next to nothing, and I can't, as a matter of fact, I think it's one of those Toptional places where...
No, not in Las Vegas. So the Encore's website...
just about every hotel now has an adult pool where the women are allowed to go topless.
I had no idea.
And how would you know this, Rob? You've been...
Listen, I'm a news person. Ken, you should know this, and we read a lot.
The dress code for the hotel says, dress to impress. No baggy clothing, jeans, or basketball shorts. Pool attire is required to enter the venue. The only listed proper swim attire are swimsuits, which Donahue was wearing. He was surrounded by 5 to 7 security guards as he was escorted out. Well... we'll see. I'm sure that'll lead to litigation as well. When we come back, the dramatic Paul Manafort trial. Stick with us on the Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
Hi, everyone. This is Fred Dreyer. You listen to me every week on the Sports Lounge. Well, I'm here to tell you my good friend and co-host, Michael Horn, is making his wine knowledge and his incredible industry contacts available to you. Mike will educate you in the world of wines. He will stock your wine cellar, wine refrigerator, or wine rack with one-of-a-kind wines. Also, as a lover of a great glass of port, I will share with you my experiences in finding the cigars that fit your palate. I will help you stock your humidor with great cigars that reflect your growing taste and the very best smokes for your budget. Mike and I can set up a once-in-a-lifetime wine dinner, and I can host a sports cigar party. Call us today at 818-818-6400. That's 818-818-6400. Let us find the dream wines and cigars of your lifetime.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS? Newsflash, the president has changed the tax laws, and now you may be able to pay the IRS less. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, the tax doctor can help you pay the IRS as little as possible allowed by law. There are new tax laws for business owners, the self-employed, even W-2 workers. If you have a back tax problem or a few years of unfilled returns, new help to save you money is now here. Call right now to see how the new tax laws can help you. Plus, right now, we'll waive the consultation fee and give you a free tax savings report. Attention business owners, the self-employed, and W-2 workers. Make this free call to the tax doctor now and learn how to take advantage of the new tax laws that may help you pay the IRS less. 800-985-1610. 800-985-1610. 800-985-1610. That's 800-985-1610.
Come to Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante to see memorabilia of movie stars and theatrical magic right in downtown Fullerton, California. The Art of the Great Masters in an Italian town square complete with storefronts of old, Italian butchers and cheesemongers, fruit and wine vendors, seamstresses showing their wares, the romance of Romeo and Juliet. Find our mystical Room of the Moon, and don't forget King Kong, Dracula, Frankenstein, and who knows what awaits you in the wine cellar. Enjoy the great food. We hand stuff our pastas, roll each and every tortellini, bake our own bread, and make all of our sauces fresh from our private stock of Sicilian family recipes. Pasta to seafood, chicken to award-winning pizzas, tiramisu flown in from Rome. If you can't find something on our menu to tempt you, you don't like Italian food. Try our Sunday brunch, all you can eat, just $21.95. And Angelo's and Vinci's has been named the best Italian restaurant in Orange County 2 years in a row, and our owner has been named Restaurateur of the Year. Angelo's and Vinci's, Fullerton, California, 714-879-4022 or angelosandvinci's.com.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and our co-host Rob Marinko from Florida. So the Paul Manafort trial sped along, went to the jury on Thursday, 2 pretty full days of deliberations, and apparently the defense is giddy. No quick conviction, no O.J. Simpson fast jury verdict. And they're thinking, the jury's asking the judge, what does reasonable doubt mean?
Right.
Again, Your Honor?
What is that?
Yeah.
Right.
And all he said was, it's a doubt that is that's based on reason or, some sort of non-helpful description. So I'm wondering what you guys are guessing. Are you thinking between the fact that they haven't decided immediately against Manafort and the fact that the president said, I believe yesterday, it's very sad what's happening to Paul Manafort. He's a good man.
Yeah.
Is this a good sign for Paul Manafort? I mean, even if he gets convicted, maybe even if he doesn't get pardoned, maybe he'll get commuted like Scooter Libby got commuted by George W. Bush.
I'm guessing, if you don't mind, I'll go first on this.
Yeah.
Right? I think we'll get pardoned if he was convicted. Yes, but
wouldn't that look bad though for Trump to pardon him? Wouldn't it be kind of self-serving?
I don't think Trump cares. And maybe Rob has a different view. I don't know, but I think that still there's a chance that he'll be convicted, and then Trump will just pardon him. Of course, he could be acquitted too, but hedging. He said hedging his bets, but I don't know, Rob. What do you think?
We don't have a crystal ball. What's your take, Rob?
From what I've heard, generally speaking, when the jury asks the judge about anything and they've deliberated for a day or so, the longer they take, again, generally speaking, the better for the defendant. And the fact that they asked about reasonable doubt tells me that they're having doubts about the prosecution's case, which is good. I don't know if I'd be giddy if I were on the defense team, but I think they have reason to be relatively optimistic. And as far as the pardon thing, I actually don't think the president would do that.
You don't think so? No.
If Manafort was...
it would look pretty bad. Commuting the sentence
I get what Ken's saying.
Would be less bad.
He doesn't care whether it looks bad or not, but it would look bad, and I don't think he would do it. But I think Manafort's got a pretty good shot at an acquittal.
I think that since it's only been 2 days, I think there may be a syndrome where the jury knows the whole world is watching. They know everybody laughed at the O.J. jury for acting so quickly. And so I think just for show, they probably are going to take another day or two.
And that they may convict him because of it.
And in fact, Rob, I was kind of joking because lawyers are not giddy. Giddiness is beaten out of lawyers during law school. So I don't know any giddy lawyers.
Can you speak from experience?
Exactly.
I would presume.
Yeah, the beatings were terrible.
The other thing is the jury is not sequestered. Does that make a difference?
No, that's so weird to have a sequestered jury. I mean, it was O.J. and a handful of others. It's just so expensive.
You don't think it mattered?
No, and during those conjugal visits, they get all the secrets anyway. But I think this will be enough to convict him. $15,000 dropped on an ostrich skin jacket, $18,000 on a python skin jacket. How many pythons gave their lives for that jacket?
You know, you kid, Royal, but it's interesting. The judge did admonish the prosecutors the first several days of the trial because they kept on talking about Manafort's exotic lifestyle and his spending habits and so forth.
Not a crime to be rich and stupid.
And the judge actually did tell the prosecution that. I don't know if the jury was in the room or not, but I thought, there isn't a crime for spending on crazy things. There is a crime in how you get the money if you've gained it illegally, obviously. Yep. But I think the prosecution may have overplayed their hand thinking that everybody hates rich people. And quite frankly, I don't think everybody does hate rich people.
So Omerosa, let's switch to her. Everybody's talking about her. Apparently she was the villain on The Apprentice. I never watched The Apprentice, but that's what I read. What kind of a creepy person tapes you once or twice, much less 200 times? I mean, I can remember years ago at our law firm in the 80s, somebody was saying, well, why don't we tape this meeting? And I'm saying, what do you mean tape? Not tell people? Yeah, so we'll have to be able to have notes and recreate it. And I'm thinking, no, what kind of a person does that? Is this lady, if she had some smoking gun, if she had proof that he's actually dropping the N-word or whatever, it would be one thing. But this just proves that she's a real snake, don't you think? I mean, is anybody going to approve of what she's done?
Not just the snake part of it, but when she played the tape of her firing with General Kelly, people were I know, drooling in the CNN newsroom, but everybody was kind of, and myself included, curious about what was said and that there must be something to it. And if you listen to the audio, it was simply Kelly telling her that, listen, you're leaving, obviously, because we have reasons to fire you. You've not done your job, or you've done something illegal or immoral or otherwise it's not consistent with what we're doing here. And it would be better for her if she didn't go out in the public and she left quietly, because her reputation, what's left of it, would have been intact. And I think Kelly was well within his right, and as a matter of fact, gave her some good advice that she chose not to follow.
Yeah, so I agree.
Nothing wrong with the firing.
Nothing wrong with that tape. I think if she had anything that was really explosive, incendiary, she already would have come up with it, and she doesn't seem to have it. So I think her reputation is going to be in tatters, although a lot of people are going to want to hear from her on the speaking circuit. Hey, when we come back, our monologue feature on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show. You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain from a sports injury? If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com, 310-873-4422.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212. The following ad contains shocking material. Listener discretion is advised. Is someone in your family playing a dangerous game of Russian roulette? Over 43,000 people die a year from drug overdose. 120 people a day. 5 people every hour. 1 person every 12 minutes. 88,000 people die every year from alcohol abuse. Over 240 people a day. 10 an hour. 1 person every 6 minutes. Somebody you know may be next. Learn how to help someone you love get away from the drugs, alcohol, and bad influences. With the FMLA, people can take a leave of absence from their job and still keep it. Call Quit Drugs 321 now at 800-378-3315, 800-378-3315, 800-378-3315. That's 800-378-3315.
Back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-hosts Ken Jeffries and Rob Marinko. I am so excited about our new feature here. It's called The Monologue, as in Johnny.
Sorry, we ought to mention Aretha Franklin, too. I'm sorry.
Oh, we should.
That's why we're playing.
What an icon, what a legend.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's a little tribute.
The song Respect was just is one of the most powerful songs in the 20th century. She was just a giant. And the movie, Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers, that she was, yeah.
Oh, well, she was in so many things, but you got to see that. So here's the deal. The monologue is our attempt to convey some humor in a low-stress, no-anxiety zone. Everybody knows about comedy anxiety. You want people to think your jokes are funny, and so you tell your joke, and then nobody laughs, and you feel bad. We've arranged it here, so each of the three of us is reading a joke that we did not write, so we don't really care whether you like the joke that we're reading. We're going to start with our distant friend, Rob Marinko from Florida. So, Rob, if you could kick it off and read a joke that you didn't write.
A sandwich walks into a bar. The bartender says, "Sorry, we don't serve food here."
See? That was excellent, but Rob doesn't have to worry.
I thought that was terrific.
It really was. Ken, your turn.
Okay,
lay it
here
on
we go.
us.
I want to tell you. No. Talk about bad luck. I'm at the vending machine. You punch in the row letter, the row number. I want a Snickers bar, so I punch in C4. The machine blows up.
See, of course, you have to have a background in explosives to really appreciate that one.
I'm here all week. Try the veal.
And
all
finally,
our Navy SEAL listeners are hysterical.
That's right.
And here we go. The History Channel is a total fraud. They aired a special on Hitler and didn't mention Trump once. Now we got to give a shout out to Rob Marinko.
Okay,
I actually stole that. I stole that from Rob's Facebook feed.
All right, I wrote the sandwich joke, and
there we go.
Royal wrote the C4 joke. So you can send complaints to Mike at CRN.
Exactly right.
Just kidding.
So back to the news, guys, and you're going to have to explain this. You fellas know everything. Everybody's all hot and bothered about the security clearances. Oh, my God, Trump took the security clearance away from Brennan. Brennan, who was a total, absolute partisan. Fine, you're entitled to have your opinion. You love Trump. You love Obama, you love Hillary, you hate Trump. This is a free country. But why does it mean that you get to keep your security clearance when the only purposes are, number one, to chat with the new incoming administration, to share your expertise? Not going to happen. They hate each other. And secondly, to use your security clearance to make more money as a consultant in the private world. So why is everybody's hair on fire about the fact that Trump yanked the security clearance from Brennan, and he probably will now yank it from 4 or 5 other people who hate him and he hates, and they're never going to talk? So could somebody explain to me?
Yeah, because what's his name, who's been, who did he, I forgot his name.
Brennan, the CIA
Yeah, Brennan,
director,
right, of course, Walter, I think of Walter Brennan the whole time.
Yeah, it was Walter Brennan.
And
Pepino has been
in the bar with
lost his security clearance as well.
Well, it's a real McCoy, you know. So yeah, but because Brennan's been on TV, blasting Trump, and I don't think Trump likes people.
He just signed up with MSNBC.
Yes, he did. The enemy, as they call it. Yeah.
But I'm not hearing a reason why it's a bad idea to yank the guy's security clearance.
Well, because it's not. I mean, Trump did it because he was upset at him. And,
you bet.
And he'll do it with anybody else, and it's like it sends a shot across the bow. He's going to do it to anybody who disagrees with him, who has security clearance who happens to have right now security clearance.
Rob Marinko, I know you're a huge fan of Brennan, so you probably have an opposing viewpoint. What's your take on this issue?
Having held a security clearance for well over a decade, I'll tell you when I lost mine, and that was the last day of my employment where I needed one. Mm-hmm. And it was taken away in a debriefing that happens to 99.9% of everybody who holds a clearance. Now, in the case of directors at that level, whether it's CIA or another agency, it is traditionally acceptable to let them keep their clearance for a time, a reasonable time, so that they could powwow with their replacement that comes in, so they can get them up to date on stuff.
Sure, swap stories.
And they've got history with our adversaries and so forth. In Brennan's case, the only thing he was doing is going on TV bashing Trump. He was in no active conversations, and had not been, from my understanding, for quite some time in any intelligence talks or intelligence meetings where he would have needed a clearance. And the ultimate determination of whether you keep your clearance is whether you need a clearance, and Brennan didn't need one. So you can make it political, and I agree with Ken. Trump did it because he pissed Trump off. But quite frankly, it's a power that every president has. Trump used it. Whether it's a good idea or not, I don't know. But as far as the reason for taking it, a legitimate reason is Brennan was no longer using it.
Well, right. Can I ask you, do we know if previous presidents have used it? And I just don't know the answer to that question.
I bet the previous presidents
over and over again, this is unprecedented. Yeah. But everything that Trump does, when I read something or hear something in the mainstream media, it's always unprecedented. Trump is the first president to ever do this or that. And then, you do a little research, you find out, it's happened before.
I think what it boils down to is that in a perfect world, you would certainly tap the expertise of your predecessors. It would be collegial. You'd be sitting around. You'd learn from the past guys. This isn't a perfect world. These people literally hate each other. There's nothing good that could come from Brennan communicating with people in the current administration. And so as a result, I think, take them away from all of these guys if they're not going to have a good working relationship.
I'd like to know about Rob's security. You mentioned security clearance. When did you work for the CIA? Well, then you'd have to kill me, right, if you told me that.
Weren't you in the witness protection program, Rob?
I was in the witness protection
Oh, that's
program.
right. That was you. I'm sorry. I made
Well, that's an interesting. We'll talk later about that.
Protection program, Royal, but thanks to you, buddy, you told everybody where I lived.
Yeah, I kind of blew it. So let's talk about Governor Cuomo. Kind of weird for him to say America was never that great. People are saying it's his political obituary. I think there was an irony in what he said. I think it was motivated by pure political greed. I think it'll turn out to be political suicide. If he ever is going to try to run for president, that soundbite is going to be hanging around his neck. But I think he probably did it to separate himself from the other potential candidates for president, because he's trying to send a message to people who are unhappy with America, who feel that racism and income inequality are so ingrained and so terrible that it's wrong to say America was great. So I think that was his philosophy. But I mean, as for the substance, when you think about it, I mean, we are the folks who beat Hitler, but for America, we might be speaking German.
And we beat communist Japan, according to Fox. Well, you've heard that story this week.
And we beat the communists, and I think it was pretty great to come up with the Constitution. I mean, it was the single greatest advance in political freedom in the history of the world, where it's this template of defeating tyranny, whether by the majority or the minority. I mean, it's not a stretch to say America's great, and for him to just sort of blithely say we were never that great. So that's, I vented. What do you guys think? Rob, do you think that he was nuts to do it? He's never going to get elected anything else, or was he clever?
I'll tell you, I think I have a different take on this. I don't think he meant to do it. I think it was an off-the-cuff remark. But here's my explanation as why he said it. The explanation is, I believe in Cuomo and a lot of the folks on the left, it's ingrained in them. And if you go along with how great our country is, you kind of slip over into that. Well, if you're going to be patriotic anymore nowadays, that's really a big negative, right? Especially when you're in any kind of election situation, and when you have somebody in your party, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, you can't get much further to the left. You're either going that far or you're not. And I think the party, I don't care how many party leaders talk about the Democrats not going farther left. They're definitely going farther left. They've been doing it for a number of years. But I don't think he thought about it. I think he just said it because he believes it. In his head, that's ingrained in him.
I got to tell you, I think his old man Mario would have killed him, more or less.
Not a leftist.
Yeah, no, his instincts are better.
Mario wouldn't have said it.
I think you're right, Rob. When you say it's ingrained in the left, I think you're right. And when you go back to, for example, President Obama, he was chided by the right for his apology tour. One of the first things he did as president was he took a trip around the world and he gave some speeches that were interpreted as apologies, recognizing that there was imperialism by America. We've just been running around the world inflicting our will. There's racism in our history, the income inequality. You have Michelle Obama saying, I never was proud of my country, really, until I saw what Barack was able to do. I think that is the mindset of some folks on the left, and I think Mario Cuomo, as you suggest, Rob, maybe was reflecting that mindset. But I think it's going to bite him. I just don't think...
Yeah, his old man, the father, would have killed him. Would have, not literally, but you know what I mean.
That'll be in his opponent's... in their playbook in their ads.
Oppo Research, right.
That goes up there with I'm Not a Crook and some of the other political...
It's like the Steele dossier, opposition research.
It's an audio of Dukakis in the helmet on the tank.
Hey, Rob Marinko, since you're in Florida, I think it's only right that we talk about Stand Your Ground, because that is in the news. If anybody's seen the video, it's pretty stunning. Michael Draka, 48 years old, he was arrested a couple of weeks ago for the July fatal shooting of Marcus McLaughlin. The incident was caught on video. If you haven't seen it on YouTube, you got to go see it. He's been charged with 30 years of manslaughter. That's the charge. 30 years potential sentence. So what happened was the shooter is at a parking lot for a convenience store, and he sees a young woman parking in a handicap zone, and he thinks she doesn't belong there, and so he's berating her. Her boyfriend comes out of the convenience store, and he sees the scene, and he goes right up to the guy who becomes the shooter, and he gives him a big shove, and he's 5 feet away on his butt, looking up at the shover. And so then the shooter pulls a pistol out of his pocket, and he waits about 4 to 5 seconds, and he shoots the shover dead. Now, the sheriff initially said, stand your ground. The shooter said, I was in fear of my life, and it was legal to have, he had a permit for the gun. He's there in Florida, and we've got a stand your ground rule, which isn't just, home is your castle. It's anywhere you are. If you reasonably believe you're threatened, if you could escape and run away, you don't have to. You may stand your ground and defend yourself. But the state's attorneys overturned the sheriff's decision, and now the charge has been filed. So it's there in your home backyard there, Rob Marinko. I don't know if you've been following the story very closely, but I wonder what people are saying about it and what your take on the whole stand your ground issue is in connection with this case.
Yeah, I don't think this is a great case for proponents of stand your ground. I think there are much better cases. The guy that fell and the man who assaulted him, I think it may have ended at that point with the shove. But a thought occurred to me. I'm one of those people that have a concealed carry permit here in Florida. They're easier to get. And one of the things, my wife and I had this conversation. In my younger days, not too many years ago, I felt pretty confident in situations like the one that you see on film there with defending myself. In other words, if the person became more aggressive or, physically attacked me when I was on the ground, I think, you know what, I can defend myself. Now I'm a little older. I got a bad back, and, I'm not as physically able to defend myself against, especially when the person is larger and younger. And so I might be apt to pull a weapon and use it. And now I think what's going to happen is I think it was appropriate to charge him in that case. But I think what's going to happen is he'll be acquitted. I think he's going to be able to demonstrate that he was in fear of his life.
One question is going to be how much evidence comes in of his past conduct, because the shooter has a bit of a checkered history. And by the way, in terms of the video, again, folks, you got to go to YouTube, because after the guy is shot, he staggers back into the convenience store. His 5-year-old son follows him, and he dies right there in front of the 5-year-old son. The guy who is on his butt, seated on the ground, who then pulls out the pistol, the shover was not advancing on him. The shover was standing about 5 feet away. And so in that sense, you say, was it really necessary to take the pistol out and shoot him? So I think he's going to have some splaining to do in front of the jury. But listen to what we know about this guy. In the past, he has a history of threatening drivers. In one incident, he tried to brake check somebody. I didn't know there was a concept of brake checking, but he caused a traffic accident. 3 months ago, a driver said that there was another argument over a handicapped accessible spot, and this same shooter threatened to shoot the other driver. The shooter wanted to voice his complaint to the driver's employer, so he spoke to the owner of the company, the septic tank company that the guy worked for, who had supposedly parked inappropriately in the handicapped spot, and the shooter told the business owner, "The driver's lucky I didn't blow his head off." Then 5 years ago, a woman told the police department that the shooter pointed a gun at her. This is the same guy that shot this fellow dead. 5 years ago, he pointed a gun at her and her passengers, and the shooter told the woman she was driving too slowly through a school zone. 6 years ago, another driver chose not to drive through a yellow light, stopping and said, so the shooter is behind him. The shooter honks his horn, yells, holds a handgun out the window, motions for the driver to walk back to his truck. The shooter then follows the vehicle and slams on the brakes, trying to cause an accident. So it brings to mind the situation where the record producer, Phil Spector, was on trial, and 5 women testified and said, over the last 20 years, Phil gets drunk, waves a gun in my face. He didn't shoot me, I was lucky, but he did shoot Lana Clarkson. I'm thinking, guys, if these examples of this shooter's past conduct...
He's toast.
He's toast, yeah. There's no way a jury is in a close case like this, even without that stuff. Yeah, so...
Let me ask you, Royal, in California, in the cases, in a lot of the criminal cases, as you well know, the judge does not allow similar acts to be brought up in front of the jurors. And I'm just wondering, I agree with you 100%. I think he is toast if his history comes up. But if the defense attorneys are able to convince the judge, hey, this is going to prejudice the jury, as defense teams have successfully argued in the cases I'm familiar with, but I agree. If that comes up,
well, it's a good point you raise, because the default setting is you do not let the past acts in, because the judge is legitimately worried about the jury convicting somebody based on the fact that he was a creep or a bad guy or a criminal in many other situations that really aren't good. They don't go to the core allegation in this particular case. So it's going to be a huge call. Last issue I wanted to raise, we just got a few seconds here before our next break, but this guy Peter Strzok got fired, and people are complaining. I don't get why anybody would be complaining when his blatant bias was so much on display against Trump. Why would Trump want to keep him on? I don't get why.
He's got a right to fire. Well, he was fired by the FBI, right? The FBI fired him.
Right, I think so.
So, has a right to do it.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line. Hey, guys, when we come back, we are going to be hearing from Sarah Mednick, our showbiz insider. She's going to give us her take, for example, on the new developments on the Oscar front, because it isn't just Best Picture anymore, it's Most Popular Movie as well. So stay with us here on the Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show. Have you purchased a wine refrigerator or put a wine cellar in your home? Maybe you have a new wine rack. Great news, but what wines will you buy to stock your wine rack? Let me, Michael Horn, help. I'll find the wines for your wine cellar with your taste in mind. We'll determine what varietals, Cabernet, Pinot, Chardonnay, what types of wine, California, French, Italian, you like. We'll find you one-of-a-kind wines from all of our friends we interview daily on the What's Cooking Show and the What's Cooking on Wine Show. On a budget, we'll find you the best affordable wines. Want hard-to-get library wines? We can source those for you, too. And if you need cigars, let L.A. Rams sports legend and iconic actor Fred Dreyer make your selections. Hey, we can even host a wine dinner for you or set up a sports cigar party with Fred. Call me, Michael Horn, at the What's Cooking Today show. Call 818-818-6400. That's 818-818-6400. Let us find the dream wines of your lifetime.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Seekers of luscious and appetizing gustatorial pursuits, indulge your fancies with steaks so absolutely yum-yum, vegetarians have forsaken kale and Pilates and never look back. Fish specialties so fresh and delicious and chosen by King Neptune himself, and relish Columbo's Italian family specialties so delectable you'll be yelling out, bravo, bravo! And let's not forget Columbo's world-famous meatballs, and you've got to try their breakfast pizza. Oh, and jazz every night. Service that's friendly, not fawning, and at a price that'll keep you coming back. That's Columbo's, that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's, Manja.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS? Newsflash, the president has changed the tax laws, and now you may be able to pay the IRS less. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, the tax doctor can help you pay the IRS as little as possible allowed by law. There are new tax laws for business owners, the self-employed, even W-2 workers. If you have a back tax problem or a few years of unfilled returns, new help to save you money is now here. Call right now to see how the new tax laws can help you. Plus, right now, we'll waive the consultation fee and give you a free tax savings report. Attention business owners, the self-employed, and W-2 workers. Make this free call to the tax doctor now and learn how to take advantage of the new tax laws that may help you pay the IRS less.
800-985-1610. 800-985-1610. 800-985-1610. That's 800-985-1610.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-hosts Ken Jeffries and Rob Marinko. And in this block, we are delighted to be joined by our Hollywood insider, Sarah Mednick. Sarah, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. And we wanted to pick your brain on kind of a big story in Hollywood, namely big change to the Oscars. As I understand it, let's see, the last host, was it Jimmy Kimmel?
Kimmel.
Okay, so Jimmy Kimmel, and the ratings were terrible, in the toilet. Not quite as bad maybe as David Letterman with the Uma and Oprah.
Or Oprah Oma. Yeah.
Oprah Oma, yeah. And so the Oscar folks are getting together and saying we got to have something to shake it up. People don't just want to hear about art house movies winning awards. So, Sarah, fill us in on the background. What are they doing in terms of this so-called popular Oscar?
They are creating a new category. They're looking at least probably, I'd say, 25 films that were popular this year. And they're going to have to somehow condense to see what's the popular film, or what do they consider a popular film. That's another thing. They're coming up with this category for popular film, but what for them constitutes a popular film? Is it one with great storytelling, one that just had tons of money at the box office and that was it? But that's something, you would expect at the Razzies, which is basically where all the bad films go get awards. But then you also have some semi-popular films that also were critically acclaimed, like Wonder Woman, Black Panther, and Deadpool too, the second Deadpool. So, and those would be up for the popular also, what about the animated movies too? They have their own categories. So this is something that the Oscars, we're gonna have to wait and see how they do this. And they've also decided to cut the show. Like, you can still go to the show and get an award, but your award may not be aired. Winning the award may not be aired.
Yeah. Write the Oscar speech and you don't get to give it.
I think they're going to do it during commercials and edit it and run it.
I feel so out of it. I didn't know there was a Deadpool 2. I barely knew there was a Deadpool 1.
It's a very entertaining movie.
Did you like it? Okay.
It's a lot of fun, very adult, because it's surprising because Marvel movies and superhero movies are actually getting really good. I mean, it started with this isn't the first superhero movie to be, the talk with the Oscars trying to get ratings. Like, they did it a long time when Heath Ledger was nominated for The Dark Knight that same year. They also had like 11 movies nominated for Best Picture, and one of them was The Dark Knight.
Is there a worry that the luster and the glamour is going to be taken away from the Best Picture if there's a popular picture that sort of intrudes?
The thing they said is that actually some films may qualify for both.
Aha!
So
that'd be
that would be a good thing.
Double-header.
Exactly. So they're all
like Ted Williams winning the Triple Crown.
Yeah, and then people are making jokes about it. Like, what's her name from Back to the Future played Marty McFly's mom, is like, Back to the Future would have won the popular category because it's not only a blockbuster film, it's also very well done.
When you look back the last few years, 2017, The Shape of Water wins Best Picture.
Yes.
Star Wars, The Last Jedi, highest box office at $620 million. 2016, Moonlight wins Best Picture. Huh? Who saw Moonlight? The most popular, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. 2015, Spotlight. Not too many people saw Spotlight. That was Best Picture, but $900 million for Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Yeah, but then you had Get Out and Mad Max: Fury Road that were also nominated this year. So who knows?
We'll see how it works. Let's just bring Billy Crystal back. All right,
yes,
it's time
please.
for Mike Gary to play us out with our Hot Tub Time Machine excerpt. And Rob Marinko, let's see if you can guess.
But you've done enough. Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you left no sense of decency?
So that was from our American political history. Can anybody guess who that guy was talking? Ken has a guess?
Well, all right, it's a McCarthy, Army McCarthy hearings.
Yes, exactly right. And who was that speaking?
David Schein? Was it David Schein?
David Schein was the young guy who was
who was it? You got running out of time.
Gay lover of Roy Cohn. His name was Joseph Welch, Boston lawyer extraordinaire. See you next week, folks. Have a great week.
CRN Digital Talk Radio prides itself on being the station of every situation. Of course, you can always listen live through your local cable TV